Hello and welcome in. I am Miss Kinghorn and we are back here in Planet Zoo. That's right, so there is going to be some changes on my channel for a while, and yeah, we're kind of going to be splitting our time. So where for the last probably 10 months we've been working exclusively on Sims content, we are now going to be kind of splitting it off. So you're still going to have the Sims 4 content, but you're also going to have some Planet Zoo as well, and that starts right here now. So we are currently building a car park for our brand new zoo. It's called the Red Lane Zoo. I don't necessarily know where the name came from. Random generator came up with it, but I feel like we're going to go for it. So this is going to be a American zoo, and I'm saying that because the architectural sketch actually of a whole complete zoo that I'm working off is a real zoo in America. I'm not going to tell you the name because I don't want to make a copy, and I'm not saying I'm building this zoo. It's loosely based off of a single architectural sketch. Now, for any of you who know my content, that's usually what I do. I pick an image and I try to recreate it as best I can, whilst also not diving too deeply into it. So that's the plan. We have got quite a few different sort of animals going in here. I don't want to give you a full list because obviously some things are going to change, different animals, new DLCs and all of that, but yeah, it should be quite a nice one. So a lot of the animals are going to be from the Americas, so either North America or South America, Latin America, that kind of thing. There are going to be a few others from different areas where it feels appropriate, where I can get them to work. So some of those different ones, we're going to get in the Dull Sheep. In there we've got some of the African animals are going to come in as well. The Red River Hogs. The Quakers are coming in as well. So there's a few different ones of those that I have at least planned, but who knows what is going to come in the next DLC, and maybe they would overtake some of the other animals that I've got in already. I do have a whole list. I've gone through sort of the Zoopedia and picked the animals that I really want to get in here, and yeah, I feel like this is going to be a nice zoo. It's not going to be a small zoo. It's not like Twin Creek where I said, right, we're just doing Australian animals and we only had, I think it was like 9 animals in total, I think 8 animals in that zoo. We're not doing that with this one. This is going to be a bigger zoo. I've kind of roughly counted up to probably around about 30 episodes for this, so we do have some long-term plans for this zoo, but yeah, there's lots of sort of bits and pieces that we can get in. Obviously restaurants, there's shops, there's going to be other sort of bits and pieces that are kind of thrown in that work, but they don't necessarily have much of an impact in the zoo because of the way the game works. And that is just a bit of a shame, I know, but like playgrounds and things like that I do really want to get in because I feel like they are something that all zoos have, and all zoos have like climbing areas and picnic areas and things like that obviously Planet Zoo doesn't really have, at least at the moment. Saying that, who knows what the future is going to bring into here. So, back to this car parking area, it is speeding through. So we are actually using pathing to kind of create this because it was an easier option than using like plaster pieces for the whole thing, and it saves piece count. And I know this is episode 1 and those things shouldn't really matter at this stage. However, at this stage it doesn't matter. In 20 episodes time it is going to matter. So yeah, we have that to work on into here. So we have this nice little roundabout. It comes off of a big sort of road in there. I have kind of split the road so it's kind of like a left hand, right hand lane, whichever way you want to look at it. I'm in the UK, we drove on the left. but then I've just said this is a zoo based in America, and you drive on the road. Anyway, I looked out the window and saw which way the cars are driving, and that's what I did. So, anyhow, yeah, we've got this nice little roundabout that you come off of, and then you go into this sort of parking area in here. Now, I did put a lot of parent parking in here. I felt like that was something I wanted to do more of rather than any other kind of parking, and there is lots of other parking, don't get me wrong. There's not as much disabled parking as I would like, and as somebody, and as a lot of you probably know, that is something that I will really focus on. So things like wheelchair ramps and sort of steps and things like that, I am very conscious about those sorts of things and how we get them in there. Not necessarily something I overly thought too much of in the past. Obviously some of my zoos have had sightline paths and like the tactile placements and stuff like that. That is something that we are going to look at in the future and see what we can work out on. But yeah, there's not that much accessible or wheelchair parking, disabled parking in this zoo at the moment, but I am thinking we can maybe change that up a little bit. I also didn't do any like coach parking or anything like that. I just couldn't really find space, and I feel like because the roundabout was really small, I did kind of drive one of the buses that we got, I think not one of the coaches with the spawning points in. That's the word I was looking for. And I couldn't actually get that to go round the roundabout. So where they park, I don't know. That might be something we look at in the future. But there wasn't actually any in the architectural sketch that I saw either. So I really don't know where they park. But we'll come back to that at a later date. Into here, so we've got these nice little zebra crossings as well that just work through in here. Now a lot of this is all going to be planted up and it's going to all look very nice and lush and green and really nice as well. So there is that to think about into here as well. And I didn't do like sort of proper crosswalks, sort of like areas where it's just dedicated to walking, and made those slightly different. Obviously there are these areas where there are zebra crossings and things like that coming in, so that's kind of my idea of where you would walk along those lines, and I feel like that's probably a better option rather than doing anything else any differently. So yeah, but we do have these double yellow lines at the front here. This is actually outside the front, so the front is going to be on this sort of diagonal piece that we get in here, and you're going to come up and it's, yeah. I've done a little bit of landscaping as well, so you'll see that in the cinematics at the end. There is a nice little fly past. I kind of take you on a little bit of a tour of sort of the entrance area to this, and I feel like that's something I really want to do. I want to kind of take you on a walking tour trip all the way around this zoo in the cinematic. So obviously today we'll work on the entrance area, and then next time it'll be just like what we're working on, and then over time it's all going to come up together, so that when we get to the end we get a nice tour of the whole thing. So you're going to fly in the entrance, then obviously around the habitats and all of that sort of thing. We're going to sort of work on all of that as well, so it should be quite a nice little ending to the end here. But that's at least the plan I have in my head. I don't know when we will end and what we'll get in. It all really does depend on DOC's space, my computer and how well that can handle everything and things like that. Oh, I've been rambling for a long time, haven't I? And yeah, you can also probably tell I'm still suffering. There is a lot of cold and flu and just general yuckiness going around at the moment in the UK. This is probably day maybe 12, 13 of it, and I am done with it. I can go back to normal at any possible time. On a positive note, I've been off work because I can't do my job when I'm feeling awful like this, because I'm back outside, and the last thing you really want is to be outside in the rain, in the cold, when you feel this awful. I've been sitting here, so I'm very well ahead of where I normally am. So this is all been recorded, edited, and I'm currently just doing the voiceover a mere couple of days before this gets released, but I've also started on the next one. So yeah, you can tell I've worked very well on all of this, but as I say, there are going to be a Sims video in between, and then we'll go back to Planet Zoo, and then the Sims and Planet Zoo. So that's kind of the plan for here, and I think I have at least scheduled enough in my brain up to here to, I think it's like April next year, which feels like such a long way away, but then I know that this year has gone ridiculously fast. So this year has literally flown by. So yeah, planning ahead is always a good thing, but it makes you just feel like the year has gone ridiculously fast. And I mean, there's Christmas stuff in the shops. Like, what? How? When? Why? Admittedly, I've already started Christmas shopping, but you know, that's just me being me and super organised. And anyway, nobody wants to know about that. So, yeah, this area is coming together. I would say the planting in here is very simple planting. I just wanted a lot of sort of grasses and things like that, and we are using the buffalo grass. So I'm using the temperate biome from North America, because that kind of fitted in with the theme that I'm going for, which is actually the biome where this zoo is in sort of on the world map where you create it. So it is, I don't want to say it's Florida, but it's kind of like just north of Florida on the map. I can't exactly tell you where, because I can't really remember where I actually placed it when you create it. It doesn't really matter, but it is in a temperate biome of North America. A lot of this is going to be South American animals, because they recently have more of them, I've got to be fair. I was kind of going through the list and thinking, oh, that could work. And yeah, there's quite a few sort of South American animals that are definitely in here. There is obviously a few North American animals as well that I definitely want to get in, but we shall see how we get on with those. Into here. Right, these are the parking. So I've kind of cut ahead a little bit here because it was just so long. You do not want to know how long this actually took to make, with all of the lines and all the painting. And you can see right at the very beginning, I did kind of create a little bit of a set of the disabled parking, the parent parking, the normal lines, and then like the crosswalks, sidewalks, zebra crossings, whatever you want to call them wherever you are in the world. I feel like everybody has different names for different things, so let me know what they're called where you are, into here as well. And so yeah, I did kind of create a little bit of that off screen, and I have done even more work off screen as well, just to kind of finish and neaten up a few little areas into here. So this little area here is kind of like the main sort of through road in, so it's where a lot of the sort of people are going to come and walk through here, and then a couple of little benches in there, just because I thought it'd be a nice little area. Maybe if you're waiting for somebody to pick you up, maybe you've come in a big group and somebody has gone and said, I'll go grab the car, and things like that. So I thought that would be a nice area. Stop in here. So on the left hand side, as we're looking at this, is where the parent parking is. On the right hand side is where the disabled parking is. And then obviously you come and merge into this big building in here, which is going to be the entrance kind of ticket booth area in here. And then there are a few other little bits. So there's staff rooms in here, and there's some toilets and information booths as well. So we kind of mix up into here. So there's a little bit of areas. Obviously ticket booths don't really matter in this game because you kind of just have tickets when you arrive, but I really wanted to kind of create something where it looks like you have to purchase the tickets, and that's what we're working on here. Now you are going to see a few bits and pieces that change and kind of move along as time goes on, and things that I've liked when I was doing it, and then I've come back and I've gone, no, I don't like that anymore. So I know with the cladding that I put on this building as well, that is one of the main things. You'll still see that and then it disappears, and there you go, there's part of it in there, and I don't like it. So in the end I change it all out, and you'll see how I do that version, which is why this takes so long to actually build anything in this game. So these are using a limestone pieces, which I think are perfect for these kind of buildings in here, and I actually really like the sort of texture on them as well. I could have used concrete, but the concrete just doesn't look right for me, I've got to be honest. This is something, and I feel like I say this every single time, I don't like the fact that the arrows are all over the place. I don't know why they are, but trying to get things to line up in the right places was just neon impossible, because you just couldn't do it. So a lot of this is slightly out, and you'll sort of see that when it comes to like windows and stuff. The proportions are slightly different all over the place. But yes, and here are said windows, and they don't fit. So we end up changing them to these ones in here, which I think work a little bit better. And they're also a little bit thicker as well, and here is the point where I go, I can't do it. So everything kind of has to change for the sake of these windows. Alright, so yeah, we kind of adapt this and change this and move it so it kind of works all over the place, and how we actually want this to be. And yeah, I think in the end you can't tell that they're so badly out of place. There's a few things that I would definitely like to change, don't get me wrong, but I think it works well enough that it can be easily hidden. So that was kind of the plan, that it can easily be hidden away into here. So yeah, these are four of the ticket booths in here. Now I only show you building this side. There is basically a mirror image on the other side, and they're again slightly different because I was kind of eyeballing and guessing how well this was all working. In there, that basically has the same sort of thing in it. It has obviously these ticket booths in here, and I am going to decorate the insides at a later date. I haven't done it yet, but that is something that I definitely want to get in. So talking earlier about accessibility and things like these, this is a really good example here where I've created one that's slightly lower, so if you are in a wheelchair, or if you have somebody in a pushchair, something like that, and you wanted to use a lower sort of desk, then that was something that I really wanted to get in. Obviously in-game this holds no benefit, or it's a pointless kind of building, I've got to be honest, but it looks pretty cool, and every zoo has an entrance building of some description, and that's kind of what I wanted. That maybe you have bought your tickets online, that's absolutely fine, you can just walk on through, but if you haven't and it's a spur of the moment decision, then you can come here, purchase your tickets, and maybe find out a little bit more information about the zoo or anything like that. That's something you can do. I feel like that's something that all zoos kind of have, this sort of entrance building into here, and so I really wanted to get that in, and yeah, that was the plan, at least. I think it kind of works. There is a lot of things here. I'm just getting super frustrated at this point because I can't copy and paste all of it and move all of it along, because the arrows are just so all over the place. So I have to do this all individually. And again, and I said it earlier, I will cut out pieces like this for you because it's so frustrating to see me do the same thing over and over again, because it doesn't really show you anything. So there are things where it magically all gets done, and I show you little snippets of how I do it and things like that, but for the most part I will just cut out a lot of sort of the repetition work that I do, because it's boring and nobody wants to see that. So that's kind of something that I often do. So if you want to see anything more, do let me know. I know I cut out a lot of stuff, so if you are interested in seeing some of the finer details or things like that, let me know in the comments down below, because yeah, I can always sort of show you, maybe do like a behind scenes of like, or do little reels of how to do certain things. They're always something interesting to sort of do. And and stuff like that into here. So this is one of these buildings coming up into here. I do also get this sort of cladding coming in along the top, and it kind of goes all the way around. Now this is part 1 of this build. I was going to say 3 weeks time, but in the 3rd episode of this, we're actually going to be expanding this area. So we are going to be building 2 wings off of the side of each of these buildings. So each of them is going to have a kind of an angled piece coming off, which is going to hold our restaurant area and also a gift shop into there. So that is something that we are going to work on, and that's coming up. So I have left those areas kind of a little bit blank because I know what's coming, and I thought they would be a pretty cool spaces to get those in. So that is the plan with that one, and yes, so you'll see it just kind of randomly cuts off, and when we get to those, that's because of the way I want to do it into here. So using these pieces, and they don't all fit, we do kind of have this weird little area where we have kind of a 3-meter section rather than the 4 meters that we've got elsewhere, but it works and it looks okay into there. And there we go. Pick up the handle, come on. Right then, that's fine into there, and I'm liking how this build is actually coming together, and I feel like looking at it now, it looks okay. I get to a stage where all of my builds, and I'm like, I really don't like it. I don't like it. Do I delete it? Do I just work with it? Do I push through? And in the end with this one, I did just keep going with it, and I think it works pretty well into here. Now, one thing I know a lot of people do is cover the pathing in here, in sort of the zoos and in certain areas with different like colours and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that as a default. I'm gonna kind of leave it as the pathing. So a lot of this area is actually doing the bricks, and I really like the kind of texture that these bricks have. So that, yes, there's going to be certain areas if we do like a house, like a tropical house or a walk-through habitat or something like that, where we don't have normal pathing, that I can sort of see we could cover. But for the most part, I do want to keep some of the pathing at least as sort of in-game as possible. Again, that's a piece count thing. If I can get rid of some pieces here and there, I definitely want to do that sort of thing into here. So just getting this in, and we're actually going to get another window in this little space in here because we are going to have a staff area in here. So I thought it would be a perfect place for that to be, and it gives you a nice sort of view, look out into there. So my kind of idea for this area was that it was going to be kind of ticket booths at the front with maybe like the administrative work kind of done in here, and then on the other wing I was going to do like a security kind of wing, kind of room in there, maybe like lost property, maybe a bit of first aid, that sort of thing. I feel like that's something that you often see at like the entrance to a zoo into here, especially with all of the cars and things like that. I thought that would be a sort of a good place for it. Obviously we don't have any builds items sort of for that, so I'm going to have to kind of make those up. It may just be one of those magically appeared things that you'll see in the future, but yeah, it may just have to magically appear in place for you there. But I think this build is coming together pretty well. As I say, we're going to use the same pieces here and to kind of create this window. It's kind of a very long sort of window, and I do end up changing it slightly because for some weird reason I don't think I've built it square. And I say this to anybody who knows me, I don't do things that are square. It just doesn't happen. So we end up having to cover this little section here because it's kind of like cut out. I don't know why the game does that. It kind of is now going to give me really weird spaces on how to do things, because I'm going to have to change the whole way the cladding works and stuff like that because we don't have pieces small enough for it. Anyway, mini rant over. We kind of get these pieces in here, and yeah, we are very quickly coming up to, oh no, we've probably got about another 5 minutes at the end of this video. But alright. So the plans I kind of have for the zoo, I've kind of talked about it quite a lot for this video. I kind of varied. I want to sort of change it up a little bit. So next week we're not working on the extension to this building that I said earlier. We're actually going to be building a habitat because I felt like 2 buildings straight after each other was a bit like meh. So we've kind of changed it up, and we're going to have our very first animal coming into here. So what is your go-to first animal when you start a zoo? Let me know, and we'll see who's right, or what animal do you think I'm going to pick. And we'll see who's right next time. Obviously the thumbnail next week is going to give it away a little bit, but anyway, we will find out into there. So these are going to be the sort of barriers. Now you kind of have these sort of airport style sort of wiggly lines that you have to kind of go through, sort of crowd control into there, and I really wanted to sort of get that whole sort of point in. So we've kind of got all of these that you have to walk all the way through into here to get to them. I've got to be honest, they're rather annoying, aren't they? But anyway, it works out pretty well into here. So, and yeah, that's what we've got. And then obviously we've got the mirror image on the other building on the other side into here. Now we do have plaster pieces being used as kind of a flooring in here. I've kind of gone for a very simple black flooring in here. I felt like it was quite simple, kind of flooring that just kind of works, and it just gives it that nice little shade and darkness in here. Over time I am going to actually build up the office space in here as well, so you'll see that all sort of come into life, and I do put in some internal walls and stuff, so that kind of works in here too. And this building is actually 3 deep, the other side is actually only 2 deep, so it's a little bit different in terms of that. But we do end up sort of coming up with a little roofing idea. It was a little bit different to what I wanted to get in, I have to be honest. And it's something that is... It wasn't part of the architectural plan, and it wasn't something I really wanted to do. But because I kind of changed the heights up a little bit, and this... Talking of roofing, here we are. I ended up coming up with this idea that we just had these little extended sort of roof pieces that come around here as well, so it just kind of gives it that nice little hints coming through into here, and say because we are at different heights as well. So that's kind of the plan for this one, and I feel like this zoo is going to be quite a modern zoo. There are going to be parts of it that are maybe slightly older, and there's distinct zones that are going to be put in to a lot of this as well, so you'll sort of see those over time as well. But yeah, we do cover the sort of entrance area, because I feel like that was an area that really needed to have sort of a walking sort of path over it covering in there, because otherwise it's just going to get all wet, and nobody likes to be wet at the front. When you first go to an attraction like a zoo or a theme park and you get wet right at the beginning, you gotta walk with it all the way around. So I thought a nice little cover area here, and we are going to have like picnic areas and things like that, all going to be sort of undercover as well as out, so that if it does rain, and I've got to be honest, it rains a lot, especially here in the UK, we're all used to being absolutely soaked with the rain because it's pretty much constant here at the moment. But yeah, these bits that do stick through, I do get rid of those as well, so we'll neaten all of this area up as well. But this roofing here looks really good, especially from like a lower sort of level into here. So this is the one that has the toilets in them. You can sort of see at the back there's that kind of like stick out bit. You kind of have to walk around to get to them, because I wanted a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? You didn't want to straight walk into the bathrooms, so I kind of cover them up a little bit with this sort of little path that you come around, and we're going to get in like ATMs and stuff like that in there as well, cash machines and things in, so it all kind of fits nicely into there, and getting all of this to sort of lower into there, so it all works out really well. And then realising I've left a giant big gap all the way along this side because it doesn't quite fit. But yeah, that is such one of those things, I'm afraid, into there. And we'll get there eventually, and I think that's going to be all done in there. Obviously the lighting in the back here is not brilliant, but that's just shadowing in game into here. So a few more benches on here, because I feel like these areas were sort of maybe like a drop-off zone or something into here. Do have that big sort of dropped curb as well, so that you can access all of that into there as well. Now the pathing in here was a little bit different, because I didn't want to cover it, as I said earlier, that I don't want to cover a lot of the pathing up, and so I kind of had to go with what it was in game. But here are the cinematics, so I will see you next time for another video. But until then, if you enjoyed my content, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all really, really soon. But until then, stay happy and stay building. Bye everyone!